Hello, my name is Krasi. I'm sidereal astrologer, and I will talk about Taurus, the astrological sign, and also the constellation Taurus, seen from the point of view of the ancient Babylonian Mesopotamian astrology. I mentioned in the previous video about Aries that I'm sidereal astrologer because I use the fixed Babylonian astronomical sidereal zodiac, which was used about more than 5,000 years ago in ancient Babylon. Now we know that we do have 88 constellations, and they all interact, they all influence us apart from the zodiacal signs, and that we do take into consideration mainly the 12 constellations which are surrounding the ecliptic belt where the astrological signs are situated. Now we do take into consideration also the complete constellation, the image, the body, every single star that is part of the astrological constellations. The signs are limited, the astrological signs are limited within the degrees of the sign. If we take 30 degrees, that every sign of the 12 is 30 degrees, then the astrological sign is limited within these 30 degrees, but the constellations are not. They do influence each other. For example, if you look at Aries, the first 5 degrees of the constellation Aries and the sign, there you will see the southern fish from the Pisces, which has an impact on the Aries, and so on is the case with the other 12 astrological signs. They interact with each other. Therefore, we cannot limit our knowledge and our astrological analysis only with the 12 astrological signs. We do need to analyze the stars and the constellations. Before I continue, to let you know that if you want to recalculate where sidereally your ascendant, for example, is positioned, you need to calculate your ascendant by calculating forward 24 degrees. For example, if you know that on the tropical zodiac your ascendant is, for example, the first degree of Leo, then you need to calculate 24 degrees forward, and you get to ascendant 24th degrees of Leo. Only when you do this, you understand my analysis on Taurus, the sign and the constellations. For example, if you know that on the tropical zodiac your ascendant is on the first degree of Taurus, when you move 24 degrees forward, or 23 and something, then you will end up with ascendant in the 24th degree of Taurus. Now, Taurus is marked the point of the spring equinox in the age of Taurus from about 4,000 years before Jesus to 1,700 years before Jesus, after which we moved into the constellation of Aries. And at that time, when the spring equinox, the point of the spring equinox was in Taurus, we called this era the era of Taurus, and you can imagine what this era brought to the humanity. It brought beautiful life with impact and influences of Venus. People would live in peace, would have pleasures. The land was rich and fruitful. People would have love towards each other. They would be wealthy. This is what the era of Taurus would bring to the people. In Babylonian astronomy and astrology, because they were linked at the time, the constellation was named the heavenly bull. And as I said, it described completely the era. The key to understanding every astrological sign and constellation is indeed to take a look into the excuse me, mythology. In the Mesopotamian Epic of Gilgamesh, which is very ancient, the goddess in Ishtar, which is Venus, sends Taurus, the bull of heaven, to kill Gilgamesh for spurning her advances. Gilgamesh is depicted like Orion, the neighboring constellation, which is having impact on the sign, which I will tell you a bit earlier. So, in early Mesopotamia, the bull of heaven was closely associated with Inanna, Ishtar, the Sumerian goddess of sexual life, fertility, welfare, and this is all coming from Venus. Venus was depicted as Ishtar or Inanna, depending, of course, whether Venus is a morning or an evening star. So, Taurus is ruled by Venus, which has three main phases, three main phases. This is very important to know if you really want to understand how Taurus will impact your life when on ascendant and when Sun or Moon in Taurus. Now, these three phases of Venus and impacts of Venus are coming from the phases of the planet, whether Venus will be a morning, evening star, or so close to the Sun to be burned by the rays of the Sun, then Venus is combust, invisible. So if Venus is ruling your ascendant, or you have Sun in Taurus, and it is in disharmony or receiving negative aspect from a malefic planet, then she will not give the best qualities to the person. The person could be egoist, too narcissistic, too stubborn, could be too pedantic. This is when Venus is not well situated in the horoscope, but is still ruling the ascendant or the place where the Sun is. So if you have Taurus ruling your ascendant, Sun, Moon in Taurus, it matters really whether Venus is a morning, evening star, or invisible, combust. The morning Venus, which would be in front of the Sun, will make the person very wise, will have brave and mind structured towards reaching goals, winning battles. Imagine Athena Pallada. This is exactly this phase of Venus depicted by the ancient Greeks. Then you will have Venus as an evening star, which will not be in front of the Sun but after, behind, and will give her beauties to the person a bit later in his or her life. And such people will be more romantic. They will be more inclined towards romantic love affairs. They will not really be oriented so much towards winning of battles or having structured behavior precisely towards achieving goals. The invisible Venus will make the person even more romantic, but such people might be a bit sad, too introvert, and of course the exact meaning of the invisible Venus is again linked to the mythology and matters whether she is retrograde or not. Now, this is how the phase of Venus, very briefly, could influence the character and the life of the person. Now, Taurus, the astrological constellation, not only the sign, rules the countries Eland, Persia, Malaysia, Cyprus, and Greece. This is important in case that you would like to use astrology related to characteristics of world events, mundane astrology countries. Now, from the body parts, Taurus is ruling the neck, the face, the lips, the smell, the sexual organs, the lung, and the body parts associated with food, intake, and pleasure. This has very much to do with Taurus. And then the color which is associated with Taurus is pink, white, and all mild pastel colors, like could be pastel blue, green, brown, exactly the pastel colors. The physical characteristics of the sign when having it on the ascendant, sun and moon there, especially ascendant and sun, would imagine as the sign is very bright and distinctive and visible in the sky, so will be the person born under Taurus ascendant sun moon. These people will be very remarkable, visible, noticeable, distinctive. You also need to know that the axis of Taurus and Scorpio is the most powerful in the horoscope, because there we do have the most important 2 out of 4 royal fixed stars. Therefore, this axis and the sign Taurus is extremely powerful and important, and typically people having Taurus on their ascendant are really achieving their goals. They even call this axis the axis of money, because in Taurus are situated the most important fixed stars which bring success and money to the people. There in the 15th degree you will have Aldebaran, which has the nature of conjunction of Venus and Mars, and these fixed stars brings typically, when not afflicted by a malefic planet, gives typically luck and money to the people. Then you have projection of Vega and Sirius there. Rigel and Capella are also there, which are typically stars also bringing money, achievements, and luck to the people. The body shape of these people, when we get back to the description of the personality and the physical description, will be that they will be very well shaped. This is coming from the influence of Venus. The face will be wide and full. They have good voice, and again because of the influence of Venus, and especially if you have good aspect from Mercury or Neptunus, they will be good singers. Most of them will be. It is also said that in ancient texts that typically their children might be male. People with such ascendant will be passionate, will have passionate natures, and will love art. The body will not be strong, but will be is strong, but not be very tall. They have right, harmonious nose. The arms are wide and heavy, with short fingers. The shoulders are broad, the hair is mostly dense, curly, the lips are dense, the eyes are dense, with eyebrows, and very friendly. And people who have this axis, as I said, will be very successful, and you will see this coming from their. This will be the energies that they will show. Now, you know that every astrological sign, this I explained in the first video about Aries, is divided into 3 equal parts, each one of 10 degrees, and these 3 parts are the decanads. Now, the first decanads, the first 10 degrees from 0 to 10, is where Orion rises, the gladiator who holds the sword in his hand, and the right one with the mace and 2 lamps on his shoulder. There are the stars Bellatrix, which is on Orion's left shoulder, and on the right shoulder is Betelgeuse. Then you have Alpha Giant with the nature of Mars and Mercury. So these stars will give again, if you have them on the ascendant, will give very strong personality to the born, to the native, and they will have qualities of which typically Mercury and Mars will give, capabilities of winning, of fighting for different causes. And in the first decanate, you still have the big ship who rises, and the wolf and the naked man who sits there. These are the constellations. And there also still rises a man turned upside down, and a dog's head caused cities of the Persians. These are the constellations that typically have impact on the first 0 to 10 degrees of Taurus. In the second decanate, I will give you also some of the most important degrees further. The second decanate, the ship rises, which could typically be linked to the profession. People would have a profession like sailors, or this is what the ship could give. And the naked man that I explained in the first decanate, who goes to ship, hold up his hands and holds the key in the other. This is linked to knowledge. These people will be knowledgeable. They will have profession with, or they will sail a lot. They will travel a lot. Then on the second decanate, you see also half of the body of a dead woman. This will give kind of sadness to the characters of these people. And half of body of the dog's head, and in his right hand there is a weapon. Typically this would make them really fighters, capabilities of fighting for their causes. And the gladiator is also projecting there. Then this will make the nativities, because of the influence of Mars and Mercury, visionary, prudent, cautious, very rational. They will be disobedient. Could be that these degrees make the people not very fertile. But again, in order to make exact decision, you need to see other characteristics and factors in the horoscope. Now, and short-sighted, they say. And people that are capable of causing harm to the others. So we need to be cautious when making certain predictions. When watching these aspects, when you see a negative description, you need to search for other factors in the horoscope in order to confirm them. Now the third decanate, which is the third 10 degrees from 20th to the 30th degree of the ascendant, you will see, or if the sun is there, or moon, as I said, there you see in the third decanate that the back of a body with a dog head and sleeping man holding a snake is arising in the third decanate, and two young men of the color led by two horses. This will be linked to the profession, with people traveling or drivers. It will be something like that. The man holding the snake will make people who will be capable of fighting for a cause and be visionary, rational. Auriga holds the hoof with his left hand. Auriga is a star of the constellation of the color. The star is at the head of the color. Again, linked to the profession, as I explained. Now, the most important stars, fixed stars. First, you have in the 5th and the 6th stars, you have the Pleiades Nebula. Now, this is very important place in Taurus, sidereal, astronomical, because these 5 or 6 degrees, when you have sun or ascendant passing through, or the moon, typically makes the people very introvert, even fortune tellers, people that will have dreams, especially if the moon is there, people with medium dreams, people which will see the future. But again, the nebula Pleiades might cause some problems, might cause some losses. So it is very important exactly to see also additional factors in the horoscope in order to make the right judgment. But these 5th and 6th degrees in Taurus could typically give very clear and very good intuition. Then you have the most important and the first royal fixed star out of 4, which is Aldebaran in the 15 degrees of Taurus, which is having the nature of conjunction of Venus and Mars, and this fixed royal star, when on ascendant, when sun there, when moon there, when lot of fortune there also, really, if not afflicted by malefics, will give wealth, success to the people. Then you have Rigel in the 23rd degrees, which will give fortune, Capella as well. Now you have terms. These are the other divisions. You have five terms in total in every astrological sign, which are not equal in size. So every term is different, and every term is divided by 5 terms, which each of them is ruled by a certain planet and is characterizing this particular part of the sign. So the first 10 degrees, from 1 to 10, are the terms of Venus. Now, this will make the natures, here I'm using the descriptions which Vettius Valens gave as considered the most accurate and really depicting the right characteristics of each person. Now, the first 10 degrees, from 1 to 10, are the terms of Venus. The natives are fertile, good, compassionate, with many children. Some of them are devoted to art, others to music. Some would be fishermen. This is a link to the above, to the ship constellation. So everything in astrology is linked like a puzzle. So they are strong. They are strategists. They possess many talents. This is if you have ascendant passing through the first 10 degrees of Taurus or Moon and Sun there. Lot of fortune is also important. They make their plans, people capable of making their plans. Most of them are happy in love. They don't like to be involved in disputes, quarrels. They are like pleasures in life. So these are indeed very Venusian, very good first 10 degrees of Taurus. But note that among these first 10 degrees, you have the 5th and the 6th, where the Pleiades Nebula is, and where we need to be cautious about and make separate analysis exactly on this Pleiades Nebula if you have a moon, sun, ascendant there. Now, the next term from the 10th until the 15 degrees is ruled by Mercury. People are perceptive, far-sighted, prudent, cautious, rational, malicious, mischievous, not very fertile, ominous, and these degrees are considered lethal. But once again, before making such judgment, check the other aspects and positions of planets in Taurus. Then from the 15th until the 20th degrees, you have the third term, which is ruled by Jupiter. Born unknown, they're accessible, very moral, very principled, and very lofty. This is coming from Jupiter, which is exactly ruling the religious, the moral values of the people. These people have good faiths, they have support from God, they are lucky. These degrees are lucky. People are masculine, strong, and wise because of Jupiter once again. Great people. Because again of Jupiter, which is representing the attorneys, the law, such people can become attorneys or judges, depending again on other factors of the horoscope. This is one factor only, but you need to consider more in order to make final judgment. But typically for these degrees, these people will not have many friends, according to the ancient description of this term. Then, from the 20th until the 24 degrees are terms of Saturn and blank degrees. Typically, the blank degrees, according to Hermes, do not give good luck. And when these degrees are empty, esoterically it is said that God did not step in these places in the heaven. People might not really have the support of gods. They might be sterile or impotent. They will not have very good qualities of their characters. They might be criticized and judged by the others and will not be capable of feeling or experiencing joy. Again, before making the final judgment, see whether there is another planet, malefic or benefic, making aspect to this particular term. But still, these are important descriptions given by the ancient people. Then the last term, the last 5 degrees from the 25th to the 30th, are ruled by Mars. The natives, typically as Mars, will be very masculine. They'll be dominant, sometimes tyrannical, authoritarian. They might be conspirators, extremely corrupt. They might be wicked. So I'm quoting literally. These are destructive degrees which do not give good luck to these people. They are capable of ruining good things in a very short time. So these last five degrees of Taurus are not very benefic for the person. If there is the sun, ascendant, moon, or lot of fortune as well. Now, when I gave you this description, to summarize, this is a very powerful sign because of the influence of the royal star Aldebaran, and in general this axis of Taurus and Scorpio is very powerful and makes the people to achieve their goals, to be very influential, very visible in society. And I explained above what the rulership of Venus can give. Always taken into consideration whether Venus is before the Sun or after the Sun in order to make judgment whether Venus is a morning or an evening star, because only then you know when she, as a ruler of Taurus, will give her benefics a bit later in life, after 30th of age or earlier. So this is important to take into consideration. Also note whether Venus is too close to the Sun and whether she is combust, invisible. Then she will give different characteristics. Then the sign that is ruling the ascendant or the place of the Sun will give different qualities, different nuances, different details to the horoscope. Then you also need not to forget to take into consideration whether the ascendant is being afflicted or the Sun by other malefic planets, or whether it's receiving good benefic aspects from the benefic planets like Jupiter, Venus, Neptunus. This will all give different colors and different details to the many details that we have in the horoscopes. So this was my description of the constellation and the astrological sign Taurus. And remember always to take into consideration not only the sign but the constellation, because the constellation is not limited into the 30 degrees or into the other degrees depending on which astrological system you're using. My name is Krasi. I'm Sidereal Astrologer, and my next story will be about the next astrological sign and constellation. Thank you very much for watching.